The Army was asked a very difficult question back in July of last year, when it had to downsize its regular strength to 82,000 and uprate its reserve strength to 30,000. And you have to look at the whole proposition. And what we did was to go back to first principles, as you so often do when you're confronted by a difficult question like that. And we then concluded pretty quickly about which bits of the Army were going to go to the reserve and which bits were going to stay in the regular structure, so that we've ended up with this integrated model.
There'll be some people watching as service personnel wondering, well, why have I been singled out, as it were?
Yes, I mean, the answer is if you're going to reduce the regular strength by some 20%, it's inevitable that all parts of the Army are going to have to take a share of that pain. Nobody wants to see the downsizing that we've had to do, but the fact of the matter is that's what we've been directed to do by the government.
What's your message to personnel affected by this?
The answer is that what we've got is a new, an imaginative and an original structure which is designed to meet the challenges of the 2020 era. Getting there will be challenging. There are going to be further redundancies. There's going to be downsizing. Units will be removed from the Army's order of battle and merged and amalgamated. And there will be some uncertainty associated with all of that. And none of this happens very quickly. It'll be a gradual process, which is targeted at 2020. And it will not be easy. But the fact of the matter is that the Army will be focused on its task in Afghanistan, and as it increasingly comes off that, it will have good things to think about, good tasks to fulfil, and it will be well-resourced to achieve those outcomes.
You mentioned that you've done what the government has required you to do as an army. How much political input was there into the process, in terms of interference even?
None at all. We were given the opportunity to look at this from first principles, which I did with a small, dedicated and talented team. And we came forward with a series of options, which were then presented to ministers. And in the normal run of business, there was then ministerial direction.
The Defence Secretary said today morale is already fragile within the Army, particularly those based here and in Germany. This is going to dent it even further, isn't it?
The fact of the matter is there's a lot of uncertainty. And of course, uncertainty often can be transposed into people suggesting that morale is fragile. But I suspect if you went to Afghanistan and talked to people in Lashkargah or Naris-Siraj or Nadi Ali, you'd find that their morale was very positive. They're doing a high-quality job and they are firmly behind it.
Aside from the units directly affected today, this is about a structural reorganisation of the Army, the reaction force, the adaptable force. Why was that chosen upon as a model?
Well, first and foremost, we're required by defence as an army to deliver high-ready forces to meet the defence policy requirements that we have. And our view was that that would be done by a predominantly regular force, the reaction forces. It's been redesigned so that it's probably better structured for the threats that we think we'll encounter in the future. And what we also realised is that so much of the influence that the government would wish us to wield overseas needs to be performed with partners in upstream capacity terms, in terms of engagement overseas. And our view was that the rest of the Army, the adaptable force, would be the construct that would be able, as a pool of forces, to be able to deliver forces to do those sorts of tasks. Now, that's not to say that they are different parts of the Army exclusively, because individuals will move back and forth, experiences will be shared, and indeed units may move back and forth from time to time. So it's not a twin-track or a two-tier Army, it's a multi-rolled Army that is being organised for the tasks and challenges of the future.